Welcome to The Explainer. We are right in the middle of a massive cultural shift today. We're finally moving away from that toxic, grinded out hustle culture, and we're shifting toward this incredibly holistic, data driven approach to wellness. I am absolutely fascinated by this data, and I'm so thrilled to take you through this whole transformation today.
So, why is everyone suddenly obsessed with optimizing their rest? If you've been feeling the intense weight of burnout lately, look around. You are definitely not alone. We're seeing this global phenomenon where people are just actively rejecting the old ways of running on empty. It's a fundamental shift in how we actually view our energy, our time, and ultimately our health. Okay, let's dive right into this macro to micro journey. We're going to cover the booming wellness economy, redefine productivity and burnout, talk about authenticity and community, and wrap it all up with habits for sustainable growth. Section 1, the booming wellness economy. To really understand the sheer scale of the economic reaction to modern stress, we first need to get our terms straight. The Global Wellness Institute defines wellness as the active pursuit of activities, choices, and lifestyles that lead to a state of holistic health. So the absolute crucial point here is that wellness isn't just some passive state of being healthy. You aren't just well by default. It's an intentional, active process of making choices that lead to optimal health. Physical, mental, emotional, social, the whole shebang, all working together. $268.3 billion. That is the size of the global mental wellness market as of 2024. It has grown nearly 80% since 2019. This explosive growth is a direct response to consumers all around the world desperately seeking out ways to cope with rising levels of stress, anxiety, burnout, and loneliness. It's just a massive economic reaction to the immense stressors of modern life. Now, what's really fascinating here is where consumers are actually spending all that money. Notice how senses, spaces, and sleep is the largest segment, coming in at a staggering $107 billion. The sleep economy is absolutely exploding because people are finally realizing that rest is foundational. And right below that, brain-boosting nutraceuticals and botanicals are growing rapidly to over $93 billion. People are quite literally voting with their wallets, investing heavily in functional foods, supplements, and sleep aids to actively support their brain health. And this brilliantly illustrates the macro picture. Research shows that environmental, socioeconomic, and lifestyle factors can account for 80 to 90% of our disease risks and health outcomes. We're actually seeing the rise of wellness real estate. Employers and city planners are recognizing that our built environments, things like indoor air quality, lighting, access to nature, fundamentally dictate our health. Wellness is no longer just about personal responsibility, it's about designing spaces that actively support human flourishing. You literally cannot just meditate your way out of a toxic environment. All right, Section 2, redefining productivity and burnout. Let's transition from the physical environment to the psychological one. Think about old productivity versus new productivity. Under the old model, hustle culture, we glorified the grind. In fact, a lot of high-energy people used hyperproductivity as a way to mask underlying anxiety, just burying themselves in meaningless tasks to distract from how burnt out they felt. But the new productivity? It recognizes that deliberately leaving room for rest and setting strict boundaries are the true drivers of long-term success. Rest isn't a reward for being productive. It is a prerequisite for it. Burnout is a term we throw around a lot these days, but let's be precise. The World Health Organization classifies burnout as an occupational phenomenon, characterized by feelings of exhaustion, cynicism, and dread tied specifically to overwork and a lack of autonomy. It is super important to spot the difference between workplace burnout and clinical issues like ADHD or depression. If you only feel unfocused and cynical at work, but totally fine elsewhere, yeah, that might be burnout. True burnout requires addressing root causes, like toxic work environments. Like I said before, you can't fix it by simply doing more yoga. You actually have to fix the environment. So, this brings us to a really critical question. How can you balance productivity with your mental health? Productivity is incredibly valuable, sure, but prioritizing it at the total expense of your mental well-being triggers exactly the kind of stress we just discussed. So let's shift gears from diagnosing this societal problem to exploring some actionable, community-driven solutions. Section 3, authenticity and community first. Isolation is a massive driver of modern stress. We can see how the most successful brands are solving for this when we compare transactional fitness with community belonging. A lot of traditional gym models operate strictly on signing up members, managing churn, selling you features. But brands like Rumble Boxing, they operate on a fundamentally different philosophy. They prioritize psychological connection. They realize that what people are really starving for isn't just a fancy treadmill. It's a sense of belonging. It's a community experience where they can actually discover their own strength. Take Rumble Boxing co-founder Noah Neiman. He helped scale the brand to 85 locations by treating authenticity as a competitive advantage, not a liability. When crises hit, true resilience emerges from the alignment between what a brand says and what it actually does. By making decisions based on community well-being and core values, even when it costs more in the short term, Rumble created incredible, sustainable resilience. It just goes to show that whether you're a massive brand or an individual, authentic human connection is your strongest asset. Finally, Section 4, Habits for Sustainable Growth. Let's zoom all the way down to the micro level. What can you do right now to reclaim your well-being? Welcome to Biohacking 2026. We're moving completely away from extreme, quick-fix fads and moving toward data-informed, sustainable habits. Modern wearables aren't about finding extreme shortcuts anymore. They're about allowing you to observe long-term patterns in your sleep, your physical activity, your routines. It's really about building deep self-awareness so you can make evidence-backed decisions for the long haul. As author John C. Maxwell puts it, growth is the great separator between those who succeed and those who do not. Personal growth is a lifelong, highly intentional journey, and honestly, it is the ultimate tool to protect yourself against burnout. When you focus on developing yourself, you replace a lack of purpose with actual self-actualization, and you build the internal resilience needed to handle whatever modern life throws at you. So, how do we actually do it? Let's do a rapid-fire rundown of 10 habits for sustainable growth. 1. Understand your strengths. Seriously, double down on what you are exceptional at. 2. Manage your time. Stop wasting hours on things that just don't serve you. 3. Live in the present. 4. Accept what you don't know. Surrendering that need for absolute control removes so much stress. 5. Don't stop learning. Curiosity keeps you young. 6. Don't ruminate. Distract yourself from those unwarranted negative loops. 7. Know yourself. Find your authentic inner voice. 8. Prioritize your mental and physical health, because they absolutely go hand in hand. 9. Celebrate your wins no matter how tiny they seem. And 10. Sharpen your saw. Embrace a less is more mindset and genuinely invest in continuous self-care. I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Are you just trying to be productive, or are you actually building a sustainable life? Really think about that. You can check off a million items on a to-do list, but if you're just grinding yourself into the ground, what is the actual point? I really hope this explainer has inspired you to prioritize your holistic health over the endless, exhausting grind. Take these insights, apply them, and go start building a life that truly sustains you.